last week, and a wonderful man who had the community at heart, and so we'll miss him. So anyhow, let's say the pledge and observe a moment or two of silence for them. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, first order of business this evening. After having called the meeting to order, reading and approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting dated March 28th, 2023.
I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second to accept the minutes as presented for the March 23, 2023 meeting. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by like sign, that motion carries. Next, reading and approval of the minutes from the workshop, dated April 4th, 2023. That's the one during which Corey Lilly hosted the workshop, and we had representatives from the West Virginia Land Trust who talked about that wonderful acreage that we will be very involved with going forward. So if we have a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and second to approve the minutes of the special workshop on April 4th, 2023. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by like sign, that motion carries. Next, an MOU with West Virginia Land Trust for Piney Creek Preserve Partnership. Mr. Fowle?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, there is a memorandum of understanding between the West Virginia Land Trust, Inc. and the City of Beckley. A copy has been given to council prior to the meeting this evening. I would ask Corey Lilly to very briefly explain what this is, and then I'll fill in anything that needs to be filled in before we present it back to the mayor.
Absolutely. This is, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Fowle. This is a MOU, a memorandum of understanding between the City of Beckley and the West Virginia Land Trust to open the property for the residents of the City of Beckley so that we can use it for recreation purposes.
Thank you. And what this memorandum does, it explains what the role will be of each party in this. This is an agreement between the city and the West Virginia Land Trust. There'll probably be amendments to it down the road, but this is a starting point. And at this time, Mayor, I would ask, in lieu of reading the entire memorandum, that his explanation and my very brief explanation suffice. And you ask council to adopt a motion approving this MOU.
Oh, well, okay, prior to that, does any member of council have any questions of Corey or Mr. Fowle regarding the MOU?
No, I read it over and it's pretty clear.
Okay, very good. Well, with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the MOU as presented and explained by Corey and Mr. Fowle.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and second to approve the MOU with the West Virginia Land Trust for the Piney Creek Preserve Partnership. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign, that motion carries. And I think this council will, going forward, look back and say, I was involved in a fairly historic measure for the city of Beckley, which really expanded we expected to expand our city boundaries by about 800 acres, which moves us to some other areas who have expressed an interest in being part of the city. So that's great. So thank you. Second reading, a public hearing for an ordinance amending zoning of property on Central Avenue. Mr. Fowle?
Yes, sir, Mayor. Tonight is the second reading of an ordinance that was approved on first reading by council on March 14, 2023. I will read this ordinance by title, and then we will have a public hearing in which any member of the public will be given an opportunity to speak either in favor of or opposed to the ordinance. What this ordinance does basically is it rezones 8 tracts of land. 7 of the tracts are on Central Avenue, and one parcel is on Virginia Street. And these will be rezoned from M Manufacturing District, which they currently are, to B1 Neighborhood Highway Business District. The ordinance is titled, "An Ordinance Amending the City of Beckley Zoning Ordinance of 1971 and the Comprehensive Plan of the City of Beckley and the Zone Map of the City of Beckley, as from time to time has been amended, to provide for the rezoning of 7 parcels on Central Avenue and 1 parcel on Virginia Street, all in the City of Beckley, Raleigh County, West Virginia, including parcels 33, 34, 37, 38, 40, and 41, as shown on Beckley Corporation Tax Map 29, and parcels 272 and 272.1, as shown on Beckley Corporation Tax Map 30, from M Manufacturing District to B1 Neighborhood Highway Business District." At this time, I will open a public hearing and ask if there is anyone in the public would like to be heard regarding this ordinance, and they can speak either in favor of or in opposition to the ordinance, and if they would please identify themselves when they speak. Yes, Danielle?
Hello, Daniel Stewart, resident of Beckley. Wow, what an opportunity for Beckley. This really is. You know, I've spent time down in that area and the rundown buildings. I think the storage unit that's down there has already been torn down. You know, we've had a lot of issues with crime and stuff associated with that area. And, you know, here is an opportunity to do something really big in our community. When I look at that property, and there's big things here. So, you know, not only does it fix an area that's not being underutilized and blighted, that's going to increase the property taxes for that particular area, as well as the 1% sales tax that we add within the city. So the city is going to make a lot more money off of that property by doing this development. But really, in my mind, the biggest thing, a few years ago, I remember reading an article when they were talking about the New River Gorge National Park and Reserve becoming a national park and reserve. And the article did this big, beautiful talk about that, and they said, well, the nearest city is Beckley, but there's really nothing remarkable in Beckley. That stung, you know, and I think this is an opportunity to change that narrative, that we're gonna have a destination place when people go to the gorge, they're gonna come back here, spend their dollars in a great area to do business in Beckley. Lastly is, again, a blighted area, as I mentioned about the storage unit. You know, we all know we have a vagrancy problem in Beckley on the rails and trails, and there's nothing that vagrants hate more than light and people. And you're gonna have the light, you're gonna have the people and stuff happening down there. And unfortunately, it's gonna push that problem elsewhere, but at least for that area, it's gonna improve for Beckley. That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
And I should,
Oh, go ahead, Mayor.
I should give instructions in case we have anybody online who would like to make a comment
Yeah, that
during
would
the
be
public
fine.
comments. Okay.
be fine.
If we have anybody online, either by phone or by their computer, who would like to make a comment during this public hearing, if you're on the phone, if you will dial *3, which in essence raises your hand to be recognized to speak. If connected by computer, click the hand icon on your participants panel. Okay, Mr. Fallon, sorry
Yes,
for the
sir.
interruption.
No problem. And I might point out, if any member here or any member of the public wants to speak, they do not have to have pre-registered for a public hearing. So is there anyone else here in the room tonight that would like to be heard regarding this proposed ordinance? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Brown. I'm a real estate agent and a business person here in the community, born and raised. I'd like to introduce our team of investors as well as support staff that has really helped us to start the process in bringing the Central Avenue development to life. I'd introduce Justin and Ashley Boyce. If you would stand, please. Justin and Ashley are both nurses. One is at CAMC, one is at Raleigh General. They are bringing their skills from Arizona to our local community and looking to positively invest in our community. Andrew McKinney, who is now a resident of Beckley. I sold him my house. He was the first residential sale that I had in the city of Beckley, and he is a manager at the Hometown Kia location here in Beckley. I'd also like to thank kid in the background, Jamie and Jason. If you all would stand there. They are, of course, local hometown heroes that are working on our marketing for what we will, you want to go ahead and announce it? What we will now be calling the district, formally. Morris Ravish could not be with us. He is an a Navy veteran who has invested quite a substantial sum also with us to bring the district to us here in Beckley. Thank you all. We are excited. We have partnered with Ed Weber, who is an architect out of Charleston, who is now reaching out and has brought onto his team a local architect that is from Beckley, West Virginia. We are looking at creating a team that has its roots here in West Virginia to bring an unparalleled experience to this community. We will be reaching out and continuing to reach out to the Bill Withers family to create the first Bill Withers Museum in Southern West Virginia and have his costumes and music and original memorabilia on display. These are things that we would like to do to really focus on, highlight some of the wonderful things that have happened in our community and showcase them to not only our neighbors, but to the communities, country, and world at large. We want to put Beckley on the map. We want to make sure that when people do visit the New River Gorge, that they know Beckley is the next destination for them to attend. We are excited, we are thrilled, and we are very hopeful and anxiously, prayerfully awaiting the final rezoning so that we can begin the hard work that lay ahead of us on redeveloping this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. As mayor, it's not my duty or obligation or responsibility or right to try to influence council's vote on any ordinance. But I commend you, Mr. Brown, on the team you've put together. And now gratifying to see three folks from out of town who've joined your team, as well as our local wonderful marketing experts. So it's very gratifying, and I probably can't say any more because we have to bring this to a vote. I hope I didn't break any rules, did I, Mr.
Oh,
Fowler?
absolutely not.
Okay, very good.
You are the mayor.
Okay.
Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to be heard on this ordinance? And do we have anybody that has held their hand up online?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay, thank you. With that, I will close the public hearing and turn this over to you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Fowler.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we've described the second reading of the ordinance in some detail, and again, we thank Mr. Brown for his further description of what's going on in the district, which is very exciting. So I would entertain a motion to approve this ordinance on the second reading.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, 2 seconds, to approve the ordinance on the second reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign, that motion carries. Thank you. Next, just for council's edification, this is not an action item, but it's something to bring to your attention. So I'll ask Captain Morgan to discuss the West Virginia ABCA license application.
Yes, Mayor, we've got a notice of application, Kimono Ken Incorporated, doing business as Kumo Japan, 108 Galleria Plaza, map 72, parcel 24, has filed a notice of intent to apply to operate a private club, private wine restaurant, or tavern at this location in the B2 General Business District. This is a change of name application. This location, 108 Galleria Plaza, and the intended use, private club, private wine restaurant, or tavern, is a permitted use in the B2 zone. The location is not an area designated by Common Council for the use of community development block grant funds.
Very good. Again, that is for council's edification with no action required. Okay, we're down to old business. I'll lead off with a couple things. I mentioned the lovely ceremony today for Lynn Smith, former First Lady. I'd like to thank Chief Bailey and the force for the excellent escort services you provided at a very busy time. It was well appreciated. I heard many comments Along the same lines, would like to thank Leslie Baker for the luncheon following the funeral at Black Knight, and many good comments I heard there. And your remodeling there is pretty nice. The new carpet's funded by insurance for the water situation we had. It really, really looks nice. So anything else from any member of council under old business?
I know with Stifler Drive, have we decided when we're gonna have the workshop?
I don't think we have. Mr. Fowle, do you have any idea on scheduling that workshop for Stifler?
No, we need to get together and schedule. We need to check calendars. I would say it would be within probably the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Right. And along those same lines, we have talked for the past 2 years about the wisdom and likelihood, hopefully, of changing our form of government from a strong mayor to a city manager form of government. And now is the time to really accelerate those efforts. So we'll be scheduling workshops there to iron that out. We'll probably, my plan would be to have at least one city manager, now retired from Oak Hill, come in and address the workshop, along with another visit from the Chamber of Commerce. I will say that among cities in West Virginia, Beckley may be, and likely is, the only community of our size, or smaller even, including Princeton and Bluefield, Oak Hill, Fayetteville, Lewisburg, Charleston, and Huntington, who operate with the city manager form of government. So we'll flesh that out. But yes, we will probably be likely that we'll need to schedule a Stifler and the city manager discussion at 2 future workshops. Anything else from a member of council under old business?
I just want to say congratulations to Brian. Brian has been through a lot. His aunt passed, and
Oh.
they'll be having her funeral on tomorrow at Richard Johnson. So
I'm sorry.
let's keep him and his family in prayer.
Brian, was that your mother's sister or your father's mother? I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that. Okay. Anything else from a member of council under old business? Anything from any member of council under new business? Okay, we're done to public comments. Again, if you're interested in making a public comment, if you're connected by your telephone, please dial *3 to raise your hand to be recognized to speak for no longer than 3 minutes. If you're connected by a computer, click the hand icon on your participants level, again, to be recognized to speak on any topic you choose, no longer than 3 minutes. So, Anthony, do we have anybody?
None of the attendees raised their hands, sir.
Okay, do we have anybody here this evening? I think we have Mary West signed up. Mary, you want to take your 3 minutes? I think 3 will do it.
Well, I'm back once again, and good evening.
Good evening.
We are definitely still having a problem down on LaRue. You guys are doing some beautiful work here in Beckley, but you're forgetting about LaRue.
Ms. West, not to interrupt you, but I'd mention, we do have records of radar that has been run on LaRue, which really doesn't indicate the problems you're bringing forth.
You
Is
know
that true?
why?
Is that true,
I hate to
Chief?
interrupt you too.
Chief,
Because
is
they
that
come
true?
down and they turn their sirens on and their lights on and sitting there flashing. A toddler won't even speed on a scooter when a cop's sitting there.
Okay, okay,
So
Ms.
that's what's
West.
going on.
Okay.
They're turning their lights on
Okay.
and sitting there alerting everybody that they are coming down.
Okay,
the
Ms.
road.
West, okay.
Now, my pregnant daughter today and my 1-year-old granddaughter almost got hit crossing the street.
They'll have to be more careful.
No, it's not, the car's got to be more careful. Now, I live on that street, I'm a taxpayer, and I am tired of everybody coming through there. I can't even get out on the street. I pull out of my driveway, they're almost about to hit me. I get on my scooter just to get some air, they almost hit me. And it's sad, because previous mayor put the 4-way stop down there after I raised so much sand to get that in. And they run that rascal.
Well, let me interrupt again. I've spent a lot of time, more than I should, on LaRue Avenue, and I have parked at both stop signs. There's 2 stop signs between South Kanawha and Eisenhower Drive. And I have never witnessed anybody running that stop sign. I've never witnessed what I would call speeding. So I'm not disputing your word, but there's something going on there that's not gelling properly with me.
Well, I don't know what that is, sir, but I'm gonna tell you something. Being a veteran, the stuff I've been through, I have PTSD, and I am so tired of seeing these fools fly through my street. When I broke my house, it was bumps in the road for you to slow down. Why you can't put them back? Put the bumps back down at speed bumps. And then you got Sherry Mullins up here won't even return a phone call. I am tired of all of that. So I need help. And anybody ever come down my street and almost get hit, please say something, because it's going on. It's speeders. And thank you all for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. See you in 2 weeks.
You got that one right. Don't stop speeding.
Okay, Pam Upton.
I'm good, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, we have 2 names marked out here. One is Alicia Macias, which apparently you don't intend to speak.
That's Ms. Parker's daughter.
Okay. And Kevin Brown from Brooker Street.
Brian.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brian.
I just have a couple of things I'd like to. One, I hope the city does not move to a city manager and eliminate the manager, move from a strong mayor to a city manager. One, as I understand, if council makes this change, it has to go back onto the ballot to be voted on by the citizens to change that. I think that if we're gonna make that change, that it needs to be brought to the citizenry. I do think that it is always convenient that those changes tend to happen at difficult election cycle times. And I don't feel like we need to remove the power from the people at this point. My second comment is on the, my godson was threatened with gun violence over Snapchat. We have gone to the Board of Education. We don't get return phone calls. The child at another Raleigh County school was suspended not for making a threat of gun violence, even though we have a restraining order at the police department. He was suspended for interrupting Woodrow's school day. And I think that with all these school shootings that are happening in this community, that city management needs to get involved with the school board to make them responsive to these threats that they are happening in our community right at this moment. The safety of our children should be paramount, and the way that the school board is negligently handling these situations needs to be properly addressed. And then my third question, and this follow-up on the lifeguard situation at New River Park Pool. I understand that there's difficulties in that arena, and I am again availing myself to help in any capacity that I can.
Very good, thank you. Jesse Cecil.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. I'm Jesse Cecil. I'm the operations manager of the West Virginia Land Trust. As you know, we met last week during the workshop. Thank you for the opportunity to explain what we do and what the partnerships is all about. I, along with Andy Altman, our board president, and Shannon Gillen, the preserve steward for West Virginia Land Trust, in support of the partnership set forth in the MOU on which you just voted, would like to submit for our petition for annexation of the Piney Creek Preserve into the city boundary. We have worked with Corey and Mr. File to provide all the requisite documentation and materials in order to do that. Thank you.
Very good, that's exciting news for us. Bill Fowle, do we have a timing for that measure?
Excuse me.
We have a timing to formally accept the petition for the land trust to come into the city?
Do not have the specific timing right now.
Okay, very good.
We'll work on that now.
Okay, but we'll move that ahead, and we appreciate your petition and interest in so doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I appreciate
you.
it as well.
Looks like there was an Andy H. or Andy at, who I may have overlooked, that looked like they were scratched out. Okay, all right, so no other speakers. Okay, anything else for good of the cause?
Mayor, if we could, 9.5, I'm not on the agenda. I wanted to ask the mayor if you've had any communications with the good people of Frontier. Our uptown has been under siege for now 9 days, as we have not had phone service. If we have folks that needed to be released from the regional jail, that establishment only accepts faxes from the circuit clerk. They can't fax, people can't be released from jail.
And I don't know what, not to interrupt you, I don't know what the underground problem is. I saw a group at about 10 after 7 on Sunday morning working underground at the intersection of North Genoa and East Main, and stopped to ask them what their projected completion date was.
Right.
And they said, we as laborers are working as hard as we can. We're doing everything we can. We know that the Raleigh County Court Annex has been out of business. WJLS has been out of business. As mayor, getting up at 7 in the morning and trying to push these people along is about all I've been able to do.
I just wanted to make sure that a door had been open for you to reach out.
Right.
Because I know sometimes that if we don't tell you there's a problem, you
Sure.
don't necessarily know that where you are. But, I mean, it's every small business that we've encouraged to open. They can't take orders for their
Yeah,
restaurant.
sure.
It's been cataclysmic.
Yeah.
I can't really put a beat on that one. So I'm thankful for anything you can do to encourage them to do their jobs.
Thank you. Cataclysmic, that's a good word.
It's not the word I want to use.
I like it. I like that word.
Still a good one.
The word I want to use is, we'll get me in trouble on Sunday.
This is a family council meeting.
Cataclysmic works.
In response to Mr. Brown's comments on the city manager form of government, we will have workshops. And a couple of comments you made regarding who makes that decision were not correct. City council has by code the ability to change that form of government and actually to appoint the city manager. And really, without going into a lot of detail, when I ran for mayor the last time, I had 5 opponents. The city of Beckley only garners 4,500 total votes. So you have 6 people running for mayor, and you might have the best intentioned, most wonderful people in the world running for mayor. And if they win on a popularity contest, so be it. But in my mind, and in the mind of people I have talked to about the city manager form of government, you still have a mayor. That mayor becomes a weak mayor, and then the city manager becomes the chief operating officer, the CEO of the business, and it levels out the continuity, the success, the future of a city. Should a mayor come in with little or no experience and not have the support to continue what we think are pretty good efforts in the city of Beckley. So the only reason I bring that up is our workshop will be an open meeting, and I hope it'll be advertised with 72 hours notice when it occurs, and I hope you will find the time to come in and have that kind of discussion about that form of government.
Absolutely. My statement is not that the city council does not have the authority to change it. It's that the people only have the opportunity to change it back. Because as I understand it by city charter, that while it can be changed, the city council cannot change it back.
I think you're correct. I think you are correct on that.
It's a matter of bringing it back to the people. So that's my thing. If we're gonna change it, I think it should be changed by the people and not the city council, because it's taking power away from the people.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, anything else for the good of the cause?
Yes, sir, Mayor, there is.
Yes,
You
all right.
want to Go ahead and say that item number 10 on the agenda. Yes.
Oh, we do have, okay, we have an executive session planned, and normally during the executive session, which is not open to the public, not open to the media, we would ask everybody to excuse themselves from the chamber. I know in the past, the only other time that we had an executive session, council resumed the executive session in an office out there.
Right.
Is that okay?
We can do that tonight, Mayor. It will not be a lengthy
Okay,
executive
all right.
session.
Okay.
And in order to go into executive session, we will need a motion to go into executive session pursuant to West Virginia Code 6-9A-1, et cetera. And this involves some issues in which attorney-client privilege is involved. I am the attorney and counsel is the client, so that is what we'll need to do. These are matters we can't discuss publicly at this stage.
Okay, with that, anything else, Bill?
No, sir.
With that, I would entertain a motion to exit regular session, which we've been in, and enter executive session.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second to enter executive session, exiting regular session. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We're now in executive session, and we'll resume behind this door. Thank everybody for coming out this evening.
Yeah, you might stay, Mayor. The only issue we'll have is we'll get an adjournment after.
Okay.
Looks like they got